You're scrolling through your phone, and suddenly you see it. A video of a teenager dancing to a song you've never heard, using slang that sounds like a foreign language. You look at the comments, and thousands of people are acting like this is the most important thing on the planet, but to you, it just looks like noise. For a split second, a cold realization hits you. The world is moving at 100 miles an hour, and you're standing perfectly still. You start to wonder if you're becoming that guy, the one who is officially too old, out of touch, and left behind. But before you start looking for a midlife crisis sports car, I need you to understand something that the cool kids don't. While society tells you that you're losing your edge, neuroscience suggests that your brain is actually undergoing a massive, high-level upgrade. Let's be real. The pressure to keep up with trends in America is a multi-billion-dollar industry designed to keep you in a state of perpetual anxiety. But as a man crossing into his mid-30s and beyond, your biology is starting to play a completely different game. Psychologists call this the shift from fluid intelligence to crystallized intelligence. Developed by Raymond Cattell, this theory explains that while young people are fast at processing new, random information, like the latest TikTok trend, your brain has spent decades building a massive, solid database of knowledge. You aren't getting slower, you're getting more structured. Your brain is no longer a sponge soaking up everything. It has become an elite filter that only lets in what actually matters. Think of your mind like a high-end NYC nightclub. In your 20s, the bouncer let everyone in, every trend, every fashion fad, every piece of cultural garbage. It was a mess, but it was exciting. Now that you're 35, 40, or 50, your bouncer has become the meanest guy in town. He looks at a new viral challenge or a must-have gadget and simply says, "Not on the list." This is what researchers call cognitive filtering. It's an evolutionary defense mechanism. Your brain has realized that your time, energy, and dopamine are finite resources. You don't have the bandwidth to care about what's cool because you're busy managing a career, a family, or a legacy. You aren't out of touch, you're just high priority. But here's where things get interesting, the juvenilia effect. This isn't a new phenomenon. Even the Roman poet Juvenal complained about how the new generation was ruining everything 2,000 years ago. There's a specific psychological window, usually between the ages of 15 and 25, where our cultural identity is locked in. Whatever music was playing and whatever was cool during those 10 years becomes your biological baseline for what good looks like. Once you pass that window, your brain's neuroplasticity shifts. It becomes physically harder to attach deep emotional meaning to new cultural products. This is why the music you listen to now is probably the stuff you liked in college. It's not that new music is bad, it's that your brain's emotional ports are already full. Here's the kicker. The feeling of being left behind is actually a sign of intellectual autonomy. In social psychology, the need to follow trends is a form of normative social influence. Basically, it's the fear of being excluded from the tribe. Young people follow trends because their survival still depends on social validation. But a mature man, he has already built his tribe. He has already proven his worth. When you stop caring about trends, you're effectively declaring your independence from the mainstream script. You're moving from a state of performance to a state of presence. You no longer need to wear the right brand or know the right memes to feel like you belong. You belong to yourself. But there's a biological cost to this that most people never talk about: synaptic pruning. As we age, our brains physically prune away synaptic connections that we don't use to make the remaining ones faster and stronger. If you haven't spent your day learning how to edit short-form videos or tracking crypto memes, your brain has literally reclaimed that space to help you solve adult problems like navigating a complex corporate merger or teaching your son how to handle a setback. You're trading off broad noise for deep signals. It's the difference between a flashlight that lights up a whole room weakly and a laser that can cut through steel. Now, let's be real for a minute. There's a dark side to this, called cognitive rigidity. If you start hating everything new just because it's new, you aren't evolving, you're just becoming bitter. The goal isn't to be a dinosaur, it's to be a curator. There's a massive difference between being too old for a trend and being too smart for a trend. A wise man still watches the horizon, but he only walks toward what is worth his time. He embraces the JOMO, the joy of missing out. He finds peace in the fact that while the world is screaming for attention, he is perfectly content in the silence of his own expertise. Think about the most successful men you know. They usually dress in a simple uniform, they listen to old records, and they don't have the latest apps on their phones. They aren't falling behind. They're operating on a frequency that doesn't rely on the buzz of the crowd. They understand that trends are temporary, but character is permanent. They have stopped being consumers of culture and have started being architects of their own reality. So the next time you feel that pang of anxiety because you don't understand a new meme or you feel out of the loop, take a deep breath. Your brain isn't failing you, it's protecting you. It's filtering out the static so you can finally hear the music. You aren't losing your place in the world, you're just moving to a higher seat where the view is better and the noise is lower. Being too old for the noise isn't a funeral for your youth. It's a graduation into your power. Stop looking for the sports car and start looking at the internal strength you've spent 35 years building. Your mind anatomy is exactly where it needs to be. Subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden mechanics of your mind.